like you. Let me tell you a little about the crisis response team, and I will tell you that your community has one. So for those of you who didn't know it exists, it does. And what this is dedicated volunteers within your own community that go through 40 hours of training, which is mandated by law to be covered by confidentiality laws. So what happens is the police department calls out a CRT when a victim comes to headquarters, and they just take them into a room and they talk to them. And the first thing they do is they explain that they're bound by confidentiality laws. So they do not share with the officer anything other than homicide, suicide, and child abuse. So other than that, they can tell anything to that person. So right there, they're breaking down the walls that may have been built because, let's face it, if a victim is in a bad place and that 911 call comes in from a neighbor, they're not going to want to share everything. They're almost, and the police present at the scene and there's a mandatory arrest, there's marks on someone, someone's getting arrested that night, that person's coming back to give a statement, and they're frightened that their secret's out. What's going to happen now that their secret's out? Will they lie? They may not be so forthright with an officer because of what's going to happen when they get out. Are they going to be in worse shape now that this 911 call happened? So what a CRT is able to do is to be there during crisis, to offer emotional support. That's number one, to listen. When someone's in a long-term relationship, an officer has a job to do. They're doing police work. So a victim is going to say, okay, you know, when we dated 17 years ago, we were on vacation, and I ordered a lobster, and she kicked me under the table, and I had 14 stitches in my leg. Okay, but does the police officer need to know that story that happened 14 years ago? Is it relevant to what his job is? No. But is it relevant to the story of that victim's life? Yes, it's certainly relevant. And they need to get that out to get a real picture of what they're living. Because that was one little thing. And it's one thing victims tend to do is they minimize the incidences. So what happens is, it's like pieces of a puzzle scattered all over the floor. This happened that year. This happened that month. This happened a week ago. And it's not pulled together, which is what that power and control wheel does so excellently. It pulls it together to say, this is your life. So when a CRT is sitting with someone and they're hearing this, and they're hearing all of these pieces, they're going to say, okay, I just heard you say this, and I heard you say this, and I heard you say this, and they're pulling it together, and they're saying, are you safe? Are you safe living that way? I'm concerned for you. I'm going to tell you, a victim is not forthright to say, I was strangled to unconsciousness and I urinated on myself. They don't want to tell anybody that. They're embarrassed, but they will share with a CRT that information.